Hello everyone, and welcome to the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Care Network. I'm Dean, your host of this channel, and I'll be taking you on a journey through narcissism and understanding the narcissist. Today we're going to be presenting an episode that's going to discuss some of the ideas behind narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder, and some of the different views that some experts actually have on this. So the title of the episode is Narcissism, Disorder versus Diagnosable Condition. So there's a number of different experts out there in this field who have different views about what's really going on when a person suffers from narcissistic personality disorder. Some people actually say that it is a fully diagnosable medical disorder based on structural differences that have occurred in the brain during the years when the brain has been growing up, when we have been young children. And this is why narcissists behave the way that they do. There are other experts in the field that say that this is not the case at all, that a lot of what's going on in narcissistic personality disorder actually has to do with just choices that narcissists are doing, or choices that narcissists are choosing to be the way that they are. As for me, I fall more to the scientific side of things, as being able to see that there is a solid scientific data that says that the brains of narcissistic disorder sufferers have been changed physically during their cognitive years when they were young by abuse, and the brains no longer function in a normal way that a normal person's brain does, because the brain itself is no longer normal after this abuse has occurred and after the brain has changed physically. So there are a number of experts out there who have different views on this. I personally follow the teachings of Professor Sam Vaknin. I believe he's a cutting-edge expert on this in all manners. He himself is a diagnosed narcissist. He was diagnosed in the early 80s, and at the time that he was diagnosed, there were no real specific terms out there for the things that were going on with narcissists, and Dr. Vaknin, or Professor Vaknin I should say, actually invented a lot of these conditions to be able to describe what was going on with narcissists, and he is like a cutting-edge person as far as understanding narcissism goes. I would also agree that the author H.D. Tudor, again, is another fine example of what's going on with a narcissist. H.D. Tudor himself is a self-professed narcissist and knows his kind inside and out, and he has his own particular views of what's going on. But I do consider him an expert in the field as well too, because all of the ideas that he presents within the confines of his knowledge base are very believable and in some manners also scientifically provable, if you actually look into the research behind them. I also follow Dr. Ramini. Dr. Ramini has a little bit of a different view. I think she does not really feel that narcissistic personality disorder is really anything other than a psychological condition that is presented perhaps more by less by physical changes in the brain and more by conditionary changes in the narcissist that actually affect the way that narcissists actually present themselves. And thusly she looks at narcissism in a slightly different way than some other experts do. She believes it's really more of a state of the mind than an actual physical, psychological, mental state going on that's due to the brain changes in the brain, or some things of that particular nature. And I don't think that she actually feels that it's diagnosable as a mental psychological disorder based on what she particularly puts forth. I think she believes it's more based on physical changes in deprogramming or reprogramming of the brain in affected narcissistic personality disorder patients. So we're just going to go into some particular things about narcissistic personality disorder and the different levels or whatever of the condition here actually confined within NPD disorder. So number one here is what's considered to be a narcissistic style, which actually presents largely in narcissistic people they actually present with kind of like a deficit in empathy, rather than being completely lack of empathy altogether. Narcissistic style was first described by Linz Perry, meaning a person who behaves self-centered, or a person who is kind of an asshole or a jerk, pretty much. This is what a person who suffers from narcissistic style is really presenting here. It's less of a dangerous form of narcissism because they're not really putting forth things in a cognitive way in the same way that a higher level narcissists do. It's more of a nuisance kind of version of the condition, more than anything else, where narcissists present kind of in more of an annoying way to people than actually being destructive or dangerous. Then we have NPD, considering to be in the gamut of Narcissistic Personality Disorder. In this particular thing, there are 9 diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, and 1% of the population on average actually present with this full-blown narcissistic personality disorder criteria. It's looked at largely as a diagnosable and severe medical, mental, psychological health disorder by most experts in this field, and it presents again here in a more severe way, where the narcissists of this nature present no empathy. They exist mostly on cognitive function with people, where whatever they put forth to people is of a non-realistic nature. Love is not presented in a realistic nature. Care or for people or for things concerning other people is really almost of a robotic, mechanical nature, because they lack any real understanding of empathy or concern or love for other human individuals around them. Then we have malignant narcissism, which is a very severe form. This again presents with no empathy, with cognitive function towards people. Again, the criteria for this is very similar to type 2 narcissistic personality disorder, which was originally studied in the early days by Otto Kernberg. Otto Kernberg said, at the time when he started to understand narcissism and actually started diagnosing these conditions, Otto Kernberg said, "Narcissism is a form of a diagnosable psychotic psychosis disorder linked to psychopathy." So Dr. Kernberg actually considers malignant narcissism and NPD disorder itself to be very severe forms of sociopathic disorder or psychopathy-related disorder in a very intense, realistic, diagnosable medical way. But again, this is different people examining, and different experts in this disorder view these disorders in very different ways, depending on who it is you're actually dealing with, and depending on their knowledge base and their experience base. And of course, how long they've actually been investigating narcissistic disorder will also determine different viewpoints that you have from different professionals within these fields. So there are some discrepancies amongst professionals as to the medical ideas related behind narcissistic personality disorder as a medical condition. Is it really a diagnosable severe psychopathic medical condition, or is it more just a state of a mind within patients that they have achieved through being influenced by certain criteria? So that is to say that there is a wide-ranging view of ideas within the understanding of professionals who deal with narcissistic personality disorder. So I'm going to include in this video in the bottom some links to some videos about opposing views from different experts in narcissistic personality disorder. So in case you guys want to check out some other information that different people have on this, you'll be able to go check out some of the people who I've mentioned in this video and maybe get some more information on that, and maybe be able to establish your own ideas as to how you feel about the narcissists that you may be dealing with in your life, or the narcissists that you know through other connections. So hopefully this information was a little bit useful to all you guys out there. Like I said, for myself, I believe that narcissism is a completely medically relatable, diagnosable condition based on physical changes within the brains of narcissists, and based on also narcissistic behavior that they put forth in the pursuit of abusing their narcissistic victims. So that's just my viewpoint on things. That's how I look at things here. So this has been episode 37, and I'm going to say I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'm going to catch you in some new upcoming videos. Stay tuned for some more stuff coming up really soon.